It is a valid question to ask in 2026 whether or not it is still worth it to study in the US. In this video, I'll try to fill in the gap on most of the important issues that YouTubers do not talk about on this topic. I've seen that YouTubers focus on the visa laws, on the policy updates around the visas and all of that stuff. I mean, they're very important, but in this video, I want to give you tools that will help you understand the career struggles, the trade-offs, tools that will help you make decisions on your trade-offs, and finally, the long-term strategies that you have to put in place. I honestly wished I saw a video like this in 2022 when I was making the decision to come to the US for graduate studies. My name is M.I. Bangura. I am from Sierra Leone. I studied engineering and I work in the engineering industry here in the US. So let me try to get this out of the way. Understanding your visa pathways is crucial. In addition to all the videos you have seen on the F1 student visa interviews and questions and things around that, I want you to go to the official website of the United States, USCIS, and search about the pathways that are available to F1 visa holders, right? You will see all of the details there. You do not need any lawyer to explain these things to you. And just for disclaimer, or in general knowledge, right? There are no clear pathways from F1 visa to a green card. All of the available options or pathways are things you have to strategize around. With that being said, now we can focus on why we are here. I want to talk about 4 things, and these things will focus on graduate students. So I want to talk about the opportunity cost of that decision, what I call the forever student trap. Third, the realities of an African in the STEM career in the US, and finally, how to win. So let's jump into it. The opportunity cost. The US is not automatically the best option depending on where you are in your career. Do not get me wrong, our countries have a lot of challenges, right? But you have to decide on what you are trading off. You have to trade off something. You have your career growth back home, you have your aspirations. You want to consider, are those aspirations supported by the environment where you find yourself right now? This is very important, okay? So I was working as a project engineer for an engineering firm in my home country, Sierra Leone. And in 2021, when I was making the decision to leave, I was eligible for a promotion and things around that. But fast forward, I left and I came to the US. I got a second degree, a third degree, and I have 2 engineering degrees and 2 master's degrees, right? When I was searching for a job, my job was kind of an entry-level job. So, I mean, I would say I was probably lucky. I studied engineering. Engineering is, give or take, very universal, which means if you study engineering in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, wherever the case may be, there is a possibility that you can practice wherever you go in the UK or in the US, right? But let's say if you are in the medical field and you have to acquire additional license or certifications, it might take you more time to actually start work, to actually start gaining your experience within the US after graduation. So you want to think about what you're going to trade off, right? Like, are your aspirations supported by your environment right now? Don't get me wrong, our countries have a lot of challenges and there are opportunities for entrepreneurship to inspire you to become the person you want to be. And sometimes you think moving to the US will solve that. It will not solve that automatically. It might actually take you 5 years behind the progress you have made. I mean, what do I mean by that? You already have 5 years experience and you come here and you want to work and they say, oh, we can only give you entry-level role. You have to deal with that. And also financial trade-offs. Education in the US is very expensive, especially university education. It is quite expensive. I'll use my industry. If you want to go to a very good school, engineering school, give or take, you're going to spend $40,000-$50,000 a year on education. And if you do not have that money, which most likely you do not have, is the reason why you probably want to even leave your home country to study in the US, you're probably going to find a loan and get it, and with the hope that you get a very big job that will help you pay of that loan. And think about it. If you had access to that money, to that loan in your home country, what would you do with it? If you have ideas back home, is it possible to use the same intellect to find a loan to fund those ideas and make them into product or businesses? These are things you have to think about. You are trading off your career growth, you are trading off potential income for debt that you will get. And the third trade-offs that you want to consider is your family, your network. The influence you have. People do not talk about this a lot, but when you live in a place, you go to school, you do your secondary school in a place, let's say back home and things around that, there's a certain level of influence that you develop or build over time. You are giving that away to study in the US. Think about all of these things. These are things you have to use as you make this decision. So the second thing I want to talk about is what I call the forever student trap. I've seen a lot of people here jump from undergrad to masters to PhD with no passion but just for survival. So in my last program, about 70% of the people in my class were international students, and some of them were doing their second master's program. I mean, I was one of them, right? Some their third, some were doing PhDs and things like that. Not for passion necessarily, but for survival. If you have seen the many videos, you will understand that in 90 days after you graduate, you have to find a job. If you cannot find a job, you have to either leave the US or enroll into another program or change your visa status, something like that. All of those things are super difficult to do, to change your visa status. So it is the least option. So the lowest hanging fruit is to enroll into another program, and you ended up accumulating so many degree programs out of the instincts to survive with no passion, and you accumulated a lot of debt from tuition, or you wasted a lot of years learning something you probably never need in the hopes that you will see a light at the end of the tunnel. So the student trap, think about it. Think about this decision as you make it. The third thing that I want to talk about is the realities of a STEM career in the US. I've given you some hints already. I work for an engineering firm. It is kind of acceptable to find somebody who is an Indian, for example, in IT or in the development team or things around that. And it will be hard for you to find somebody like yourself in some of these companies. I will tell you, there's no problem with that, don't get me wrong, but think about it. This is a place you'll be spending most of your time at work, and you have to be comfortable that it is not normal for somebody to see you around in some of those environments, and you will hear comments, you will have questions from your colleagues about what you do, how you got here, and things around that, and you will have to prove yourself over and over and over and over. And this is probably something you will not have to do if you are within your own communities. So look for opportunities to network early in your studies, because again, if you come here as a graduate student, give or take, you will have about 2 years to complete your programs. 1 to 2 years, 2 years at most to complete your program, right? You should start networking day one, because you have to prove that you deserve to be in certain positions. You have to prove that you know your stuff. Make sure you understand the resources around the university where you will study, all the resources for international students. Try to find local groups in your field of study. Make sure you are part of them. Attend college symposiums, business conferences. As a student, you get big discounts as a student. Attend those programs from day one. There is something that people do not talk about a lot. It's called the CPT. The CPT is like a 1-year work permit that you get while you are a student. You can use that CPT to do an internship, but take that first year to do a lot of networking and make sure you understand your industries, you understand all the requirements, all the licensing, everything that you will need to secure a full-time role. Finally, how do you win? You have gone through all of this, you understand the different visa pathways. Now we're talking about winning. Winning here is obtaining the right work authorization that will allow you to work and stay in the US. That is winning. Whatever pathway you will have to use to obtain that is the first step for winning. Secondly, you have done your networking very well. Thirdly, find your people. When I say find your people, I'm not saying find somebody that sounds like you. I'm not saying find somebody like myself. I'm saying find people that share the same interests and values as yours. I know when we come here, sometimes the first place we turn to is the church, things around that. Sometimes we squeeze ourselves into people that are just like us, people with the same experiences, people with the same struggles and all of that. We are leaving a lot of opportunities on the table. You want to find your own people that share your interests. It can be your professional interest, right? People that share your kind of aspirations, right? You want to build a company, you want to work for an engineering firm, you want to start some company, whatever the case might be, right? Find those people. How do you find them? Join clubs in the university, join local organizations in the community where you live, in the city, the town, the state, wherever. Go to conferences, join, be part of those communities. That is how you find your people. Go to Pick Up Soccer, Facebook groups, right? Find your people from those platforms and be part of them. Finally, mentorship. Find mentors. People are very generous with their ideas and experiences around the things that you want to achieve. Find those people. Sometimes reach out to them on LinkedIn. Sometimes from those groups, they'll be very happy to guide you too. And a bonus point, avoid the news. Avoid the news. Every day there will be something negative about immigration, about students, about blah blah blah. Those things will cloud your head and you will not see opportunities. So avoid the news. Shut down that part of your life and focus on winning. Well, I hope you have learned a lot. My name is M.I. Bangura. I'm here to share my lived experiences and to get other people to win. Thanks a lot for staying with me.